All right, sorry about that quick edit, but yeah, a lot of people just they don't even realize, man. Like the whole Ukrainian thing, it is not what it originally was. When you were being told from the media's perspective, and I just remember in 2021, like I was sitting there saying, I'm like, dude, like Russia wasn't losing. Like, there's no way. Like people, I think it's just because a lot of people also in the West, we're so coddled and so like cushied that a lot of people actually like that don't study history and they don't really study anything. They don't actually really understand that like war is not a fucking video game. Like, because I remember so many people were like, "Oh yeah, Russia will just destroy Ukraine." Like people thought Russia was losing. I remember like because it's funny when this whole thing kicked off, people thought Russia was legitimately losing because they didn't conquer Ukraine in like 3 days. I'm like, okay, guys, that's like a fucking video game. It's not how shit in the real world actually works. Like, you don't just go in somewhere and just fucking drop in a bunch of soldiers. Like, it's not like Fallout where everybody's wearing a bunch of power armor and you just drop in guys out of helicopters and they just start killing everybody. Like that's a cinematic set piece for a reason. It's not real life. Like most wars take years. Hell, look at the United States versus the Middle East. Like you could argue that like oh with the size and the power of the United States, they should have toppled the Middle East in just 5 days. But no, that's not how that worked. If anything, like 20 years spent there and what did we even accomplish? And you could even say the same thing about Russia, because I'm no Russian shill, fuck them too. But they definitely were just being unfairly represented in the media as like these evil bad guys that are just trying to be bad guys. It's like, no, Russia had reasons on why they invaded Ukraine, reasons that you just didn't hear about in the first year of the war. It was just fuck Russia, fuck Russia, fuck Russia, because of course that's what it would be. But you got to see past the propaganda and understand that, like, yeah, of course they're going to make Russia look weak by saying, "How they couldn't even take Ukraine in 3 days." It's like, well, do you know any country that could just take over somewhere in 3 days? Hell, I don't even know if you could do that to like Africa, like one of the more least developed nations out there. You know what I'm saying? Like anyone with a fighting force of a military, especially, you also have to understand too, technology has changed the game on how war works. Like even if you are the stronger military, for instance, like one of the ways that you could like defeat the US Army is by guerrilla warfare tactics. One thing that a technology based army does not like do well against in history, at least history shows this, is a unit attack on their fucking systems. Like, for instance, like, maybe you hit their hospital, at one's point, and then you knock out that part of their like kind of thing, and then you randomly ambush a platoon of soldiers that are trying to. You got to like attack the supply routes because like they're technology based, so you will probably unless you have the same exact technology, you won't win in a straight up battle against them. You have to like disrupt supply lines, destroy civilians, hint like because Ukraine, you got to think about it, has all this technology that it got from America, from NATO, from all these things. That it's like, of course they were able to hold out, and now things are getting really bad for them. But like, of course they were fine. Of course they were all right. The first 2 years of the war because technology really just changed the game. But what started happening was when we started going more broke because that's what's happening in America. That's literally the plan is they're gonna make us all broke and then they're gonna come in here and they're waiting for people to start rioting and going crazy. And then they're gonna start the fucking martial law and say we need to restore quote unquote order, even though this is the very same people who caused the collapse are now saying that they're going to restore order. Like, huh, okay. And I got a bridge to sell you too if you actually believe that. But um, but yeah, the a lot of people just don't even realize like that. Of course, like Ukraine would be able to hold out this long, and it really didn't even start getting bad for them until honestly, like when people here in America were like, no, I don't want my fucking money going to Ukraine. Like, I'm sorry, that sucks for them, but at the end of the day, like what is the point of saving Ukraine if we fall? Like if we fall, then Ukraine's just gonna fall anyway. So like we need to fucking stay afloat here. Like if our people are going broke because we're spending billions upon trillions of dollars over there in a battle that we're not even taking place in a battle that really has no effect on us. It's the only one who benefits if Ukraine like pushes up Russia out of the region would be NATO. And yeah, you can say, well, America's part of NATO. Yeah, but that's a European thing. Okay? Like that's not gonna benefit us in the fucking slightest. Honestly, you know what it all is? It's all just to get a jab at Russia because of the Cold Scare back in the Cold War era. That's all it really is. Like we're just being dicks because we're sticking our nose in where it doesn't belong because we want to get one over on Russia. Don't get me wrong. Like if the U.S. was fighting Canada, I bet you anything Russia would start sending soldiers to help out Canada, like or start sending shit to help out Canada. You see what I'm saying? Like it ain't like it ain't like it doesn't go both ways around. But that's really my honest opinion on it. Is people just you're starting to see people wake up to the reality that, oh yeah, we were being lied to about the Ukraine war. We were being told Russia's just these evil bad guys and the Ukrainians are just perfect and da-da-da. Like now people are starting to wake up and they're like, yeah, fuck that. I'm not sending my money over there. No, they just fight for themselves, man. They got themselves in this mess. They can get themselves out of it. And if they can't, well, then that's on them. Like shit. That's how the world works, man. Also, people just they gotta understand too, like there is no centralized power that can just come in and stop something. But yeah, no. So that's why Fallout has always been one of those endearing series to me, is because people think it's like, oh, like people always say, it's kind of funny how the people of Fallout like just kept marching on with their lives, knowing that like the end was around the corner. And I'm like, yeah, because it's funny, but it's funny because it's realistic. That's what would happen. Everybody in Ukraine, was just living their lives normally. Like they were very aware that the tension with Russia was getting hot, but a lot of people, because a lot of people, I call them the normies, they just go, I don't like to think about that stuff, and then they just move on, and they just keep going. And I'm like, yeah, well, here's the deal. You kind of have to think about this stuff, because if you don't know what's going on in the world, that's when you get hit by surprises. Like, oh, why is everything so expensive? Well, they've been saying it. I told you that this was going to happen. I told people that this was going to happen. Like everything was going to get so expensive and shit. I told people that way back in 2020, and I got called a kooky conspiracy man. But those very same people also said, well, I don't know what's going on in the world. And I'd be like, well, then how can you tell me I'm a kooky conspiracy man if you don't even know what's going on? Like, that doesn't even make any sense. But anyway, that's neither here or there. That's a different topic. I actually do have a video that I'm planning out on why I think the government hates people that have a free, open mind. Well, obviously it has something more to do with control, but I think it also is it's a psychological human need to want to single someone out for like going against what the other people in the tribe are saying. So like if someone in the tribe's like, guys, no, there's a waterfall, there's a flood coming, and it's coming this exact way and it's gonna wipe us all out. But if the leader of the tribe's like, I saw no flood, I saw no flood, he speaks lies. Everybody's just gonna ignore it. Some people might, take it into account. But then when the flood actually comes, most people would be unprepared and die. So like that's why I think Fallout has the right idea of like that's how the apocalypse is probably going to happen. Like people, you're not gonna just see everybody be prepared and everybody be ready. Like you're gonna see like a bunch of people that are just like, well, yeah, that's pretty bad that's happening, but it's nothing. There's nothing I need to think about. And then they keep marching on with their lives, and then all of a sudden they get torn into pieces by some bomb or some fucking crazy shit. And yeah, so they nailed that perfectly in the show with the opening of like how this, like, you just see, yeah, people that were like, yeah, the bombs could fall any day, that's what we hear. Because we even see like because they actually got this right too with the lore, where the president, a lot of people don't even know this, but this is how like the Enclave really gets kind of like brought into the fold, where like at the time of the Great War in Fallout, what really put most of the normies on alert was the president and the government of the United States left the White House and nobody knows where they went. And obviously we as the Fallout fans know, like, oh yeah, like they're getting out of Dodge. Like they know the bombs are dropping, they know the Great War is coming. They're getting the fuck out of Dodge and they're leaving their citizens to die because that's what the government would do in that scenario. And that, yeah, and even though people know, like, okay, yeah, the bombs could be dropping any day now, or at least that's a fear mindset because the government just left, they just got out of Dodge, and everyone's just kind of like, okay, well, this is kind of scary. Like, what's gonna happen? And then I love the scene where like just the bombs start dropping because, yeah, that's what would happen in real life, guys. Like people would just keep like, look how people are now. Like I'm a person I'm very aware of like, oh yeah, this is what the world's coming to an absolute halt. It's not coming to an end, but it's coming to a halt. Like everything that you were told about the world when you were a kid and about how it's going to be, yeah, that's not going to happen. What's really going to happen is it's going to be a descent into absolute madness and chaos that's caused by the people at the top. And then those very same people, because they have the people's minds and hearts, are going to, when those very same people come back and say, oh yeah, well, we're going to restore order. Those very same people that like were led into the apocalypse are going to fucking then just be led back into slavery, essentially, because you'll just be a slave because they'll have the military patrolling the streets and making sure you can't do anything besides work for the government because we need to restore order, So anyway, that's where you have to kind of like start looking at it as is, in my opinion, Fallout is one of those games that just nails the apocalypse perfectly, because if it ever was to happen like that, like bombs dropping and shit, you got to realize like most people, like if you were like the guy, like I love how I think there's a guy in the opening scene who's like, the typical conspiracy guy. And he's like, yeah, the bombs are going to drop. Everybody wake up. The bombs are going to drop. The president left the country. Why do you think he left the country? Like, and then fucking everybody just kind of looks at him and is like, oh, what a wingnut. Like, you know what I mean? Everybody just kind of laughs. And it's like, because that's, guys, like, that's what's happening right now. Like our economy has never been is Great Depression levels. Like we are literally like the how expensive things are and how like broke people are nowadays. That is Great Depression level. And I was even saying 3 years ago that like most people are gonna willingly march into being broke because they're not even gonna really wake up, and most people aren't gonna wake up in time, not in time to see that like, you know what, maybe I shouldn't buy that new car right now. Because I look at it this way. All you have to do to see that a nation is falling apart economically is go like, okay, how are most genuine people living? And then you start seeing a lot of people that are like my age, like 24, 25, 26, 27. A lot of people in that age bracket, like either if they don't live with a significant other, some people, they might live with their parents or they have roommates or something. But like, then you compare that to the nation at its height and you're like, that's kind of odd. Because if everything is so great as they say, how come that's the case? Whereas most people back in the day, like way back in the day, we're talking even before the 1950s, because you say back in like the nation at its height, people think you're talking about the 1950s. Like, nah, fuck that. We're talking even before World War II. Like the nation at its peak, most young people could buy a house at any age. And not only that, but most young people could afford it. You see, that's the difference. Like not just buy one, but afford one. And because I always say buy and afford are two different things. Buy just means you can buy it. Anybody can buy anything technically, especially if you get loans and all of that stuff. But afford means like we can do this consistently and I can do this by myself if I have to. That's what afford means. And you start realizing that and you go, oh, okay. And when was the last time that this ever happened in America, or has it even happened in America? Oh, the last time that this has happened in America where most people can't even afford to live by themselves was the Great Depression. And then you start linking things and you start seeing people go like, but I know everything's so expensive, but it can't be that bad, right? Like it can't be Great Depression bad. And then you start going, guys, like it actually is. But again, like I said, that's neither here or there. A lot of the things that the show nails is it's just funny because I remember so many people going, "Oh my god, it's a girl protagonist. This show is gonna be woke." There's nothing woke at all. Now there is one joke about capitalism, and it's something to do with Vault-Tec, like because Vault-Tec laughs about how like they want to be in power, like they don't really care about the United States government. They're like, yeah, we have this secret plan, basically, and they were like saying how we want to take like we want to be the number one capitalist in the world, not the government. And so like it's like you know what I mean. Like they do one scene where they say capitalism's kind of bad, but it's not them saying capitalism is bad. It's saying that the greed and corruption that capitalism allows is pretty bad. Because oh shit, it led to Vault-Tec dropping a nuke on LA, and the United States government thought it was China because obviously the Great War, and so they launched their nukes back, and then the rest of the world did too, and it's yeah, like greed and corruption, man, ended the world. Like Vault-Tec did it. And again, I saw so many people, again, particularly the New Vegas fanboys, the Obsidian dick writers, were sitting there going, and I hate saying that too, because again, I love Obsidian, but god damn, dude, like the New Vegas fanboys really just make everybody look so bad with their just like takes. Like they're like, oh my god, because like I remember when this show like was first announced, guys. Like remember, it's gonna be woke, and there's like nothing woke about it. Like again, they make that one, and that's not even woke to make a joke about capitalism or like say that like greed and corruption is bad. Like I didn't know that's woke. I thought that was just a standard. Maybe I don't know. I don't keep up in the current culture, but like as far as I was concerned, that's not woke. That's a pretty standard opinion that greed and corruption pretty much sucks and probably will end the world. Because all it's going to take is for someone to not want to lose something. And if they have the power to end the world and they don't want to lose something that badly, maybe they would do it. They would say, if I have to lose everything, then you will lose everything. It's not an impossible outcome that can happen. But the show, yeah, there's nothing woke about it. People, just the New Vegas fanboys they just wanted something to rant about with the show. So they were like, yeah, just say it, like, it's going to be woke because it is a girl protagonist. And it's like, and see, that even just kind of confused me too, because you could play as a female. It's not like you couldn't play as a female in the Fallout games. Well, I think what people were really like worried about was that they were going to make it woke. But then there's nothing woke. So then why do people, but I still saw some people go like, well, because the main bad guy is a white guy, that's why it's woke. And it's like, all right, by that logic, I can just say any movie with a bad guy that's a white guy is woke. And I guarantee you, what's funny about that is a lot of those same people saying that makes it woke would have movies that they love that have like a white guy as like the antagonist. So you see the cope. Like a lot of these people, they thought this show was gonna suck, and I don't get me wrong, I'm a hardcore Fallout fan. I hate video game adaptations. I just wish Hollywood would stop fucking with shit that they don't understand. Like you guys make terrible movies. Let us have our great games. Like movies suck, TV shows pretty much suck. Let us have our fucking games. Like games are great. Hollywood, it's not our fault that you guys are creatively bankrupt and rely on nostalgia to fucking sell your fucking shit. Like, like you guys suck. Most movies. Again, it is. I think you're starting to see like a mini war. Is low key happening. A mini war is low key happening between. You could see the gaming industry and the TV like movie industry, like because there's so many people that don't watch TV anymore and they get their fun off video games, and those same people now are starting to like have to deal with like, okay, well, if my video games are going to be adapted to TV, then like fuck it, it better be good, like not Halo TV show where we're just going to ignore the source material and we're going to shit all over that and make it our thing. Like, no, it's our thing, and you make it how we want it, because we are the original fucking buyers of this shit, and we are the people who've played these games and done all these things, you are not just going to come in here and just bastardize it and then say that it's fine though, it should be fine and you should accept it. Like, no. No, 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 no. You either do it how we like it, or you better get some new fans in that will actually watch it. Otherwise, just leave it alone. But yeah, so that's where people just pissed me off so much when I saw these group of idiots. If I can find their channel, I'll definitely link it in the description because they need to get called out because these guys were just so fucking dumb that they were like, China dropped the bombs. Like, nope, it's never stated that. There's a theory about it. Yeah, of course. There's theories about who dropped the bombs so many times, but we never actually got that concrete answer. In fact, the original creators had this idea that it was Vault-Tec. So that's why I laugh and I say, oh, what's funny about these guys is they're Obsidian and original creator dick riders, but what they don't even realize is that, like, your fucking show, your fucking god almighty original creators of Fallout that killed the series and bankrupted it, um, you know what they actually had the idea of who dropped the bombs on was it was Vault-Tec. Like that was literally the fucking whole plot line we were going to learn in Van Buren and shit. So, and I felt like the past couple Fallout games have been building up to Vault-Tec being the ones who dropped the bombs, like with little small hints here and there. And there's even more evidence that Vault-Tec was just doing a lot of shit behind the scenes, behind the government's back. Because a lot of people think Vault-Tec and the Enclave are the same thing, and I'm like, not necessarily. There could have easily been a division within Vault-Tec that's like, fuck the government. Like, dude, we're the ones that can, if we can build safe harbors, then yeah, we can work with the government a little bit. But at the end of the, like, because keep in mind, Vault-Tec also had a lot of instructions, if you read the terminals on their vaults, to not open the vaults for anyone, not even the United States government. So clearly that there might have been people in Vault-Tec that, you know, obviously worked with the Enclave, obviously. Just as there were people in Vault-Tec that worked with Mr. House, all the other things. But you know what? A lot, I would guarantee you, especially in the real world, there would be a division within the company that's like the upper management brass. That's how like, okay, yeah, we're just gonna lie to these guys and say, yeah, we're doing this all for you. And then like the second like shit pops off, we're gonna be the ones in power now because we have access to the vaults. We have all the experiment data. We have everything. And what does the Enclave have if we don't give it to them? And who knows? Who's to say Vault-Tec doesn't have a private army? I've been saying that they have this whole time, and they're going to return in Fallout 5 and be the main antagonist. Just watch. It'll be, and then I'm telling you right now, like that's why they confirmed that they dropped the bombs. It's because it's been setting this up for like since Fallout 3. That Vault-Tec low key was behind stuff like the Institute, was behind stuff like the Enclave, but it's really been Vault-Tec all along, which just makes sense. Anyway, yeah, a lot of people just were freaking out for no reason about the show. And again, the whole like, oh, it's gonna be woke. Gosh, I laugh at that because that is just so fucking hilarious. Like, oh, I wasn't even woke in the slightest. Yeah, that's basically all I wanted to touch on with this was the New Vegas fanboys and everybody just, they needed to fucking not like be as mad about the show. And oh, and like it was actually kind of funny that like there's other guys I saw were like ranting about how Lucy's father um wanted his child back and stuff. And I'm like, man, if I was Lucy's mother, but you see, again, these haters is what I'm gonna call them now. I'm not gonna call them New Vegas fanboys or Obsidian dick riders or anything. I'm just gonna call them haters because that's what it is. They just hate on everything that's not anything with to do with the original creators. And what they don't even what these people didn't mention was like why, because they were like, because they were just, they're trying to obviously get people to think that the show's bad because they were like, it actually is woke, and so they were like saying like, oh, like there's a scene where like the reason that Lucy's father is the bad guy is because like the mother takes the kid and goes topside and because Lucy's father then goes out into the wasteland, he gets his kid back, and then he just nukes Shady Sands for no, because yeah, Vault-Tec's plan is to get rid of like the NCR, Brotherhood of Steel, all that kind of stuff, because they did not count on Civilization making it, like being able to fight for itself. And so now Vault-Tec's original mission is that they want to do is control the post-war world. So they don't want no NCR. Oh, by the way, yeah. So the top management at Vault-Tec has been cryogenically freezing themselves, which is in line because I've been saying that in Fallout 4. Like, why do you think they wanted to test that? So, yeah, the top management of Vault-Tec has been freezing themselves, and they are waiting. They now want to take over the surface. So, and Hank is actually one of those people. Lucy's father. And when Lucy's mom figured this out, yeah, she fucking took her daughter and left topside and went to the NCR for help. Hank, mad at this, finds them, takes Lucy back, and then nukes Shady Sands. Because Vault-Tec does have access to nukes, and we know this because you want to know why? Remember Megaton, the Vault-Tec bomb? So, again, there's people that are like, how does Vault-Tec have access to nukes? I'm like, well, we don't really know how. I'm assuming they'll be explained someday, maybe in Fallout 5. Because remember, I said in part 1 of the video, there are certain things that they could not touch on. And if Vault-Tec is going to be the main antagonist, then they can't touch on a lot of aspects. So that's just my theory, but maybe they also just don't explain it. Either way, it doesn't matter, because we know Vault-Tec has had access to nukes. So, but I remember some people go, yeah, they were trying to make that scene where he takes his daughter back like he's actually some hero doing something good, and it's like, dude, Hank is an evil asshole. He's from Vault-Tec, bro. Are y'all really defending a man from Vault-Tec? Like, that's how salty y'all are that you're like trying to nitpick a scene and purposely leave out important detail plots and just try to make it like, because you want to sell the narrative that it's woke and stuff, that you're going to purposely pick out scenes and make it sound like it's like they're saying mother's good, father's bad. It's like, that is not at all what they were saying with that scene. So yeah. I'm gonna upload this video now. I think I've said enough. I've said my piece. I think the show is good. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. The first couple episodes are kind of slow, so I feel like if you're a Fallout fan, especially, they're kind of slow. But if you're like someone who's never really played the games and shit, it's probably not that bad. Like, no cap. Like, it's probably actually not that slow, because all that world building and shit is something that you kind of need to know if you're watching the show, obviously. So, whereas, like, I was just waiting for, like, all right, let's just go to the Wasteland already. Like, let's go. Come on. We already know Vault stuff. But it's pretty good. I'll give it that. There's a few lore inconsistencies, and we really do need an explanation on whether Shady Sands was actually nuked in 2277, or was it not? Because it seemed like it's not, by the other arrow indicating that the bombing happened some point after 2277, but it could just also then be saying that that's how Shady Sands fell. But also, it could just be anything. I don't really know. Like, it's we don't know. But yeah, there's one thing I do want to touch on is so many people are like, they're retconning New Vegas. Oh my God, they hate New Vegas. And it's like, no, they don't, guys. And then it got so bad that because the New Vegas fanboys were complaining so hard that like an actual spokesperson at Bethesda, I think an actual story writer of Fallout at Bethesda, literally had to sit there and go, no, guys, New Vegas is still canon. There's nothing in the show that ever says New Vegas isn't canon. Also, seeing that at the end of the season 1, Lucy's father, after like getting confronted by Lucy, Maximus, and the Ghoul, he like flees and heads to New Vegas, and we see that New Vegas is actually destroyed. Now, I don't know, it was so far out, so maybe it's not, but it looks destroyed. And keep in mind, this is 15 years after the events of Fallout New Vegas. So anything could have happened, honestly. Maybe it got nuked by Vault-Tec too. We don't really know. Obviously, the season ends with us just seeing Vegas, but it's not like lit up as it was in New Vegas, where it had the lights and all that. Like, no, it's pretty desolate. But in any of the endings of the New Vegas, this could happen. So like you could be like the Yes Man ending is canon, but it's like I've always said that that ending really doesn't make any sense because honestly, who's to say that the NCR just wouldn't return with a bigger army and just fucking retake the dam? And you might think, well, the Securitrons, okay, yeah, the Securitrons, great, but a big enough army could just defeat that. Like the Securitrons aren't limitless. Like, yeah, it would take a good couple of years. It'd probably take like a 10-year campaign to do it, but like it could be done. So I've always said if it, the Yes Man house ending, if even the Mr. House ending, yeah, like the NCR could just show up with a fucking fighting force and just retake the fucking dam. Um, and in fact, that's what's hinted at. Like literally by General Oliver saying that he can't promise that the NCR won't try to come back. Like, yeah, they can kick him off the dam now, but the New California Republic probably will return. Like, they probably will come back. So I've always said, even if that is the canon ending, that actually kind of makes sense that Vegas would have been torn apart by a war. Whether it's the wild card ending with Yes Man in the Courier or Mr. House, even in the NCR ending, you could say that the NCR collapsing and just obviously mismanagement leads to the strip being destroyed. And the Legion ending, you could just say that, like, I don't know, the Legion either fell apart or maybe because the Legion isn't so technology based, maybe that's why the strip isn't so fucking like caught up. Like, isn't so like, because the Legion would be living in like a desolate. Well, no, because that wasn't Kaisar's true plan. Kaisar's true plan was to obviously make Vegas as the city capital of his empire. So, but I don't know. You could say that the Legion fell apart or anything. Obviously, me being the Emperor, I would hate that ending, but it is all right. It'll be all right. The Legion will rise again. But anyway, yeah. What people have to understand is, guys, the show's not bad, and you're gonna see a lot of the if you're a New Vegas fanboy or an Obsidian Dick Rider or an Interplay this, you're gonna probably not like the show just because you don't like anything that's not them. But yeah, with that being said, definitely check it out. And I'll see you guys all in the next video, whenever that is, whenever I choose to upload. But yeah, I had to make this video because you see like just so many people giving praise to the show and so many non-Fallout fans and just other just stuff actually liking it. And you just have this same group of people that's existed ever since Fallout New Vegas came out, where they're just like, oh, this is the best one in the series. And then they're like, it's made by the original creators because Bethesda gave them the chance to do that. And then people just turned that into like, oh, Bethesda hates New Vegas. Like, what? No, they don't. They literally just wanted to make Skyrim. Like, they wanted to get all hands on deck on Skyrim. That's why they outsourced New Vegas to Obsidian. And they also knew Obsidian would do a good job on it because they were the original creators of Fallout. So, like, yeah, they don't hate. And if they hate New Vegas so much, then why are they basing the TV show off of New Vegas? Like, off of the choices that were made in New Vegas? Why are they bringing in stuff? Why would they have the NCR and all these things that exist in New Vegas? But like, yeah, so you make that make sense. They're making a TV show that's going to be that is now critically acclaimed and being called one of the better shows of 2024. But instead of making it on the East Coast, which is all the Bethesda games, like maybe making it set in the capital wasteland or the Commonwealth, no, no, but they hate New Vegas and they hate the West Coast lore so much, so they're gonna make the show set in the West Coast. Get out of here, guys. Y'all are just complaining. But that's what I'm saying. These type of people, this little splinter of the fan base, I call them the little splinter of the fan base, but I swear the way that they fucking yell and scream like children, you would like, but just like children, you would think there's so much more of them because that's all they do is yell and scream about how Bethesda, it's New Vegas. Bethesda, New Vegas. It's like, dude, my God, Bethesda has never even said a bad thing about New Vegas. Like, y'all act like Bethesda, like y'all literally act like. Again, I just it's funny because as a not as a Bethesda fan, or I should just say, I only like Skyrim, Oblivion, and Fallout 3. Like honestly, like I'm not even really the biggest Bethesda fan. I just like certain games that they've made. And I sit there and I just sit there and I go like, oh my God, y'all are sitting here acting like Bethesda on the daily is like rolling up a blunt and just going on camera and going, fuck New Vegas. We're smoking New Vegas Pat. Like like that's what y'all like, I swear. But these people have existed on the internet since 2009, ever since New Vegas came out, and Bethesda outsourced it to Obsidian because they wanted to make Skyrim. But people always go, oh, they're just jealous of Obsidian. It's like, well, let's be honest, Skyrim is the way better game compared to Fallout New Vegas. So, and that's me saying that as the New Vegas fanboy. Um, I guess I should call these people the New Vegas elitist. But as a New Vegas fanboy, I'm literally telling you, yeah, like I don't really understand how Bethesda would be jealous of Obsidian if they made a better game anyway. And not only that, but like the only reason Bethesda didn't give Obsidian the bonus money was because of IGN. IGN gave the game needed an 85, the game got an 84 scoring. That's not anything to do with Bethesda. That was all IGN. And I blame IGN for a lot of shit. Like early 2000s gaming like would have been way different if IGN did not exist because IGN fucking they massacred so many games because they aren't good at playing video games because they're a corporate fucking organization, you know. So I hate IGN. That's all you need to know off that statement. I fucking hate IGN. They fucking destroyed games like Sonic Unleashed, so many games that were actually really good. They just were like, oh no, that game's like bad, so we're just gonna say it's like a 4 out of 10. It's like, bro, you guys suck. Like, you guys don't even know how to play these games. But yeah, that's just something I took out of that. But yeah, you're going to see, especially if you look up anything about the Fall TV show, you're going to see some people complaining because again, unfortunately, there has been a little unnecessary part of the fan base that has just been an elitist dick riding fest where it's like if it's not made by the original creators, it's garbage. And but tell them that the original creators literally bankrupted the series and almost got Fallout as the series in general, like literally off the map. Like they actually almost nuked Fallout. Literally got the series bankrupt and all that stuff, and Bethesda had to come in and save them. And like but tell them that and all of a sudden like it's Bethesda's fault. Even that's even Bethesda's fault somehow, even though they didn't even make a Fallout game until the series was bankrupt and almost dead in the water, and nobody even knew what Fallout was until they made Fallout 3. um but again, that's not me being a Bethesda shill because Bethesda's also done bad things with the IP as well. They've made Fallout 76, they made Fallout 4, games that I don't personally like and I don't think they fit Fallout. um but they're also responsible for giving us Fallout New Vegas. Yeah, they outsourced it to Obsidian, and Obsidian made it, but Bethesda outsourced it to them, meaning that they were originally probably going to do it themselves anyway. Fallout 3, uh, like shit, like hell, in them giving the green light for a TV show that's actually pretty good. Like, come on, they've done good things with the IP. Let's not sit here and act like Bethesda has done nothing good with the IP. Uh, yeah, just like the original creators, they've done some stupid shit too. It goes both ways around, but you have this weird section of the fan base that they just wanted to hate on this show right from the very beginning. Like I remember right from the very beginning, they tried to say it's going to be woke. But then it's not woke, so they can't say that. But now they want to say like, oh well, because the NCR is destroyed, that's because Bethesda hates New Vegas. It's like,
is we looking okay down here?
yeah, we're good. Yeah.
Okay.
But
I was saying just those clothes down there just need to get moved back into the.
I'm gonna move them behind the bed.
Oh, by like the bed. Okay.
Just yeah, I'm gonna move them behind it or underneath it or something.
Okay, for sure that works for me.
That way they're not getting all dirty in the room.
Yeah.
But
Just move it under the bed, but like a decent amount so it's not like visible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I was gonna say, I'm like, it's a fucking bedroom. If these motherfuckers like, if they see clothes in a bedroom and they fucking freak out, I'd be like, well,
Yeah.
where the fuck do you live, in a fucking cave, like with
Yeah.
no clothes?
Well, yeah. I just want to be like understandable of like the actual.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
necessities
That's why I'm like,
of it.
I'm moving it out of the way, like under the bed and shit, because of like, I'm
'Cause,
like,
like if I don't get a buyer, I'm fucked, dude.
well, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I'm moving it out of the way, so that way it's not like in their way or anything.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna be leaving here in probably like just probably 20 minutes. So.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm just wrapping up this video.
But you make a YouTube channel or?
I've had a YouTube channel for a long time.
Oh shit! How many subscribers do you have?
Right now, probably like 10.
Oh, that's not terrible. You know?
But I have to upload more consistently though.
Yeah, dude. Fucking.
I haven't. I started a lot uploading last like like last year,
Yeah.
but then I just really stopped for like a long time.
Oh really?
Well, I would make like short videos, but like
Yeah.
I haven't been uploading like longer content videos like what I'm making right now.
Yeah, that's true. I'm gonna put my stuff in the garage. I'll be right back inside. So.
Yep. All right, sorry about that. Uh but yeah, that's just basically the end of it. The elitist part of the fan base that has just hated Bethesda, like the non-original creator games, they just you just got to kind of ignore them because they've always been hating on the games. But you just got to let them be at the end of the day. Like that section of the fan base has just always hated anything to do with Fallout that's not the original creators, and they are just like
That ass, bro. Unreal.
what did JoJo do?